Today we're going to talk about sales tax, discounts, and tips. We're going to start with sales tax, which is an extra percentage of the price of an item that you pay to the government when you buy something. So if you're going to buy a video game that's normally $50 and the sales tax rate is 7%, how much sales tax will you pay? We could find that by doing $50 times 7%. And I know that 7% of $100 would be $7, so 7% of $50 would be half as much. That would be $3.50 that you would end up paying extra in taxes. Now, if we had a problem and they wanted to know how much total you would end up paying, we're going to do it a little differently. So if a backpack costs $40 and the sales tax is 7%, what will be the total cost of the backpack, including the tax? Well, we have two different ways we could solve it. We could find how much the tax would be first, which is going to be $40 times 7%, or $2.80. And then you could add the cost of the backpack to that $2.80. So $2.80 plus the $40 backpack would be $42.80. But there's a shortcut that we can take here. If we're going to find 7% of $40 and add it on, we could have just done $40 times 107%, because 100% of $40 would be the original cost of the backpack, plus the 7% more would add the $2.80 on. So if we had done $40 times 107%, since a tax is added on, that would take you directly to our answer of $42.80. All right, next we're going to talk about a discount, and that's a percentage that's taken off of the price of an item, which is going to make it cheaper. It's going to be less expensive. So if you're going to get a pair of shoes that normally cost $60 and they're marked down 25%, and you were interested in, well, how much money is that discount going to save you? What you could do is $60 times 25%, and that's when you could say, well, 50% of $60 would be $30, and 25% should be half of that, and half of 30 would be $15. So you would end up saving yourself $15 on those shoes. Now that's not how much you're going to pay for them. You would then have to take that $15 off of the original price to find how much you would end up paying for the shoes, which would be $45. Now this one is a store that's giving a 15% discount on an $80 jacket, and they want to know the sale price of the jacket. So we could do what we did before and find how much the discount's going to be by doing $80 times 15%, and I know 10% of $80 would be $8, and another 5% would be another $4, so that's going to be a $12 discount. But then we're not going to add that on. If we want to know how much we're going to pay for the jacket when it's on sale, a discount takes off of the total, so we can do 80 minus 12, and you would end up paying $68 for that jacket that's on sale. Now there is a shortcut on this one as well, but this time we're not going to add the 15% to 100%. That would be if it's like a 15% tax. We can take 15% off of the 100% original price. So you're actually only paying for 85% of the original price of the jacket. So if you had done $80 times 85%, that would take you right to your sale price of $68. Now, there is a second part to this. What will be the final price including a 7% sales tax? So we know we have to pay taxes, but we only pay the 7% sales tax on the sale price of the jacket. You don't have to pay 7% of the original $80 jacket. You only have to pay 7% of the $68 jacket. So you could do $68 times 7% and then add that amount to the $68, Or you could just do $68 times 107%, and that would give you the final price after the discount and the tax have been accounted for. And that would be $72.76 that you would end up paying with the discount applied and then the tax added on. All right, lastly, we're gonna talk about a tip. So a tip, it's just extra money you give for a service. Like if you go out to eat at a restaurant or a hair salon, you usually give a tip as a percentage of the bill for somebody helping you out. So it says a restaurant bill is $48 and you plan to leave a 20% tip. How much is the tip gonna be? So a tip is something that you add on to the amount that you're gonna pay for the bill. So you could do $48 times 20%, which 10% would be $4.80, so 20% would be $9.60 that you would leave for the tip. Now, if they had instead said, well, how much would your bill with the tip be total? Well, then you could add $48 and $9.60, and you would end up paying $57.60 for your meal and your tip included. But this question just asked how much the tip would be. So one thing you gotta be really careful with these percentage with tax, tip, and discount questions is to make sure you're answering what's being asked.